Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and my name is Alex Matthew. Happy Friday to you. And it looks like the markets are in a good mood at the end of the trading week. Let's see if that mood sustains through to closing, because you've seen quite a bit of action towards the end of the session. And yesterday, of course, you came off the low point of the day. I wonder whether the strength will continue towards the end of the session as well. For now, we have gains of about 160 odd points for the Nifty 50 and about 0.7% higher. The broader market's looking sanguine as well, but to a certain extent underperforming the benchmark Nifty 50. It's something that hasn't taken place over the past few sessions, where you've seen an outperformance of the broader markets. Today, it's the other way around. The Bank Nifty is something that you should track closely. It made quite the comeback in the last hour of trade yesterday. It's looking a little soft today, up about 0.2%, but watch the upside. 55,000 is a key level to watch. If it managed to sustain above that level, then quite a few of those ranges might just shift higher. IT is another sector that it's up and about in trade today, and it's moving higher, 1.5% or so. In fact, let's look at the contributors on the Nifty IT, the constituents rather on the Nifty IT, to see what is moving the needle. In fact, all stocks in the green. Even a Wipro, that is the relative worst performer, is up about 1% or thereabouts. Oracle, Coforge, both gaining over 2% at this point and looking good in trade. Persistent, very close behind, gaining about 2% or so. We spoke with Pankaj Murarka earlier in the day, and he was talking about IT being something to watch out for. And Wipro is something that he likes from the large cap space. He says that he's venturing further into the broader markets to try and pick stocks that have a trajectory or that is going to take them into the realm of $1 billion of revenue. And so it'll be interesting to find out what stocks exist there that have that kind of a potential. But let's take a look at the contributors on the Nifty 50 just to see what is moving the needle and what is losing ground. Sun Pharma, of course, on the back of the earnings and on the back of the outlook going forward, is an underperformer. Once again, Pankaj Murarka saying that his firm has Sun Pharma in their portfolio and they would be buyers on dips. I wonder whether our experts today have a similar view. Infi, ITC, Reliance Industries, HDFC Bank, quite a few of the heavyweights pulling their weight today. We've got Jatin Gedia, who's a tech research analyst at Mirai Asset by Sher Khan by Mirai Asset, I should say, and Avinash Gorakshakar, who is Director Research at Profit Mart Securities. Gentlemen, thanks so much as always for taking the time, and good morning to you. We've got the first caller that is already through. And by the way, if you are tuning in for the first time, the number that you see on the top of your screen is where you can call us. That's a landline number that Manav has used to call us. And there's also the WhatsApp number that you can use to send us messages. Manav, very good morning to you. How can we help you today?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, actually, I have a query regarding Britannia Industries Limited. I have 20 odd shares of Britannia at the rate 5,300 per share.
Okay.
So I want a fundamental view, like I have plans to hold it on for another 18 to 24 months.
Okay.
I can hold it on a little longer also. So it's been more than a year I've been holding on to it.
Okay.
So I want a fundamental view for another 18 to 24 months.
Got it. All right. Avinash, that's my cue to go to you on Britannia. What do you make of the trajectory for earnings? And it is within that consumption play. Do you see it picking up? What are the trends in the space? And would you hold on to Britannia for 18 months?
Yeah, good morning, Alex. I think Britannia is definitely a very large performer in the FMCG consumption kind of category. But I think, fourth quarter numbers which came out were not very exciting. I think volume growth was almost flat, and numbers in terms of revenue, in terms of profit was also not all that great. So my sense is that, if the investor is now looking at the next 18 to 24 months, he could definitely hold on, because our sense is that hopefully the rural market demand grows. We have a good monsoon. And, most of the companies which operate in the FMCG basket, volume growth is a very important variable. So I think hopefully we get a volume growth of 7-8%, which would obviously drive earnings going forward. So my sense is that, yes, they have been introducing new product categories. They have been eating into the market share of other smaller comparable peers. But I think to get a bigger re-rating from this company, you'll have to wait till maybe the September quarter numbers. until which, we will probably see the benefits of rate cuts, the benefit of the, budget announcements, and plus overall the monsoon also would have kicked in. So I think post September, I think you could see some traction in the numbers. So I would suggest that the investors should hold on. It's a blue chip name, but considering the large base and the kind of volume trajectory which was not so great last year, the stock has been moving in a very sideways way. So continue to hold for the next 12 to 18 months.
Okay, continue to hold is the view on Britannia. We've got our next question on WhatsApp, and we've got Parimal Kumar Parik, who's writing in from Jabalpur, who's got Texmo Pipe and Products. It is a stock that has a market cap of just about 180 crore rupees. Just a pointer to our viewers, we may not be able to get you views on stocks that have a market capitalization of less than 1,000 crore. We'll try. No doubt. Jatin, I'm wondering if you have anything that you can say on this based on the stock price action on the technical levels. He has bought at levels of 78 rupees and he's wondering whether to hold.
Yeah, see, in the case of Texmaco pipes,
it's Texmo
price,
pipe. It's not Texmaco, it's Texmo.
The price is currently quoting at 62, I suppose.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so in the case of Texmo pipes, we believe that the overall price structure is suggesting a range-bound price action between 54 rupees and 72 rupees. So overall, it has been more or less in this range-bound kind of a consolidation. So I believe the range is likely to the range-bound price action is likely to continue. If he is already holding it, then 54 rupees is the trailing stop loss with which he can continue to hold for targets of 72 to 75 in the short term.
All right, so those are the levels that you would want to watch out for. Hold is a view from Jatin. Santosh is calling us from Hyderabad. Good morning, Santosh. How can we help you today?
Yeah, I just want to make a fresh entry into CDSL for 50 shares. Is it the right time to enter? I just want your
Okay, and you're looking for a long-term view on the stock?
Yeah, I'm looking for at least 1.5 years.
Okay. All right. So, Avinash, quite a few of these plays have come back into focus with the markets recovering from the low point of the last couple of months. February is when you saw that big drawdown, and then we've recovered over the last few months. CDSL, would you buy right now for the long term?
Yeah, I think, Alex, CDSL definitely categorizes as a good medium-term bet because, see, I think if you see the structure of the market, there are 15 crore demat accounts. I think hopefully we would be having NSE listing next year. And I think CDSL makes its revenue from every trade. Whenever you buy or sell a share, they make revenue on every transaction. And most importantly, if you look at the market structure, there are only two depositories in the country, CDSL and NSDL. NSDL is also planning to go very public very soon. But in terms of the market share, I think CDSL controls around 77% of the demat market. And I think the markets are going to grow very rapidly. In fact, the government has now told all private limited companies also should demat their holdings. Universities or typically insurance companies should also go for a paperless kind of, demat structure. So I think the opportunity to scale up in the next, say, 3 to 4 years is quite significant and solid. And this is a solid annuity-based business, a very asset-light business. CDSL already holds about 1,000 crores plus of cash. So, if the investor has a 12 to 18-month time frame, he could do a SIP, a small SIP, starting at the current level. And on every dip, he should accumulate for a reasonably good risk reward over the next 12 to 18 months.
Just a quick follow-up on that. If I look at the trailing PE, it's at 57 times or thereabouts, so not cheap by any stretch of the imagination, despite the kind of fall that you've seen from the higher levels. And so from that perspective, what according to you is the good price to really accumulate this stock?
No, I think, Alex, the Q4 number was not good. At that time, the stock corrected. So I think, if you could probably look at prices of, say, around 1,200 or maybe 1,250 or 1,300, that could be a good level because, these are monopoly companies. So, my answer to your question about the valuations is that these companies will continue to enjoy a significant premium in the market because of scarcity premium. Currently, CDSL is the only listed entity in the demat space. So my sense is, unlike looking at the P multiple, I think one should look at the cash flows and should look at the operating EBITDA earned by the company and then that variable can be used to value the business. So P multiple could likely be a misnomer in this business. It could not give you the right picture as to the kind of opportunity you could make in the next, say, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, that's a very fair point that you're making. It's and ultimately, if you miss the bus on some of these opportunities, unfortunately, you don't get the price at all. So, which is why Avinash is suggesting an SIP-like approach and deploy when you get the opportunities on dips. We've got the next question on Ola Electric, and a lot of people piled into this counter when the IPO came through, and they've unfortunately been disappointed. We've got Jerin Matthew Koshi, who's writing in from Kerala and asking about Ola Electric, which he's bought at levels of 70 rupees. And he's looking for the long-term view. Avinash, I'm coming back to you. This is a company that is looking to raise funds right now. Soon after its IPO, it's still sitting on some of the proceeds that it raised from the IPO. So I'm wondering why it's planning to raise additional debt. What do you make of the company? Would you hold for the long term?
No, I think, Alex, this is a classic case of a company which has been driven largely by the narrative. Fundamental numbers still continue to be extremely disappointing. I think, they're still incurring heavy losses. And I think there have been a lot of product-related issues also. So my sense is that, the investors should not be watchful. I think further dilution at this point of time, either on the equity side or maybe on the debt side, will definitely be more detrimental for the company because the capital structure of the business is already extremely weak. And I think unless they get a significant jump in their volumes, they reduce their losses, any meaningful re-rating in the stock, at least in the short term, is ruled out. So only over the next couple of years, things can improve. So I think, the investor in question should actually take a longer term view because in the near term, I don't think there's going to be any re-rating trigger here.
No re-rating trigger. So would you rather, from your perspective, Avinash, take money off the table, book a loss and move to the other various opportunities in the Indian equity markets?
No, I think, clearly an exit call would be better. But in the case the investor doesn't want to book out at a loss, then he can hold on. But I think at these levels also, if he can get out, I would suggest that it's better to take the capital, off the table and put it in some company where earnings are going to grow by at least 15-20% because there are many opportunities now which are available. And I think the investor should prudently allocate his capital accordingly.
Point. ITC is a stock in focus on account of earnings. It's moving in trade today. Let's pull it up, the intraday chart for ITC. It's up about 2.4% or thereabouts. And we've got a viewer. Look, guys, please help me out. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're tuning in from because that will help you identify when your question is being taken. I don't know who's asked this question on WhatsApp, but we're taking it anyway. ITC is the name of the counter. 105 shares held at a price of 426 rupees per share. It's Anup. All right, Anup is written in. I'm just being told. Would you buy more at this point? Would you accumulate for a period of 2 years? Jatin is the question.
See, overall, the price structure of ITC is pretty bullish. So we believe that even if he wants to hold for a period of 1 to 2 years, then buying at current levels is advisable. The price structure is bullish. It's holding on to its crucial support levels. And today, post the consolidation, it is providing a breakout on the daily chart. So even in the short term, things are looking positive. Structure is positive for an immediate upside till 458. However, from a medium-term perspective, we are expecting 525 levels from a medium-term perspective. On the downside, the support should be placed at 420 from a short-term perspective, and from a medium-term perspective, 390 is the stop loss level.
Okay, all right. So that's the view on ITC. It's up and about on the back of earnings. Mahesh is calling us from Mysuru. Mahesh, Shubhodaya. Good morning. Thanks so much for calling us today. How can we help you today?
Hi, sir. Good morning, sir.
Please go
Hello.
ahead. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sir, KPI Technology shares 320, average price 1,320, and profit in 5,000. Seller holds are in technical analysis, sir.
That you have, how long would you like to hold this for?
Short term, 9 months.
Okay, all right. Jatin, coming to you on this one, bought very close to the current market price. 1320 is the acquisition price. It's currently trading at 1340 or thereabouts. Would you hold for a period of 9 months or thereabouts?
Yeah, definitely, because the price structure is suggesting an uptrend, and we expect this rally or the current up move to continue towards 1463 to 1475 on the upside. So he should continue to hold. I would suggest to him to keep a stop loss of 1280 on his trade and continue to hold onto the long positions.
Okay. All right. So the next question we're taking is from WhatsApp, and we've got Richie, who's writing in from Kerala, and is asking about Ashok Leyland. By the way, the results are today, so watch out for that. And he's looking at parking as much as 2 lakh rupees, which he's holding in this particular company. But he's talking from the perspective of the dividend and the bonus issue, or the bonus share issue. It's likely to consider a bonus share issue in its meeting today. It's not yet been announced. So in that context, Avinash, I guess the determining factor is going to be whether or not the earnings look good. What is your opinion?
No, I think, Alex, my guess is that earnings are not going to be great. They could be at best be moderate to steady or even flattish in the fourth quarter. And I think, see, the overall market is really cautious about Hinduja Group companies after the IndusInd Bank fiasco. So I would suggest that, let the core numbers come out, let the management commentary come out. The bonus is just a book entry. So I think, investors should realize that they should not buy stocks only for the bonus. Obviously, bonus is definitely an attractive option. But I would say that if the numbers are attractive, if there's a real sense of optimism in the management's commentary, considering that this year we'll have a good monsoon and the April to June quarter is equally strong, because I think Ashok Leyland is also a large player in the defense market. So I think it's better to wait for the quarter four numbers and then take a call. But yes, I think definitely from a longer term perspective, with the investor has a 12 to 18 month view, he can stay invested here. But I would suggest invest after the results are out.
For the results is the call, Richie. Hopefully, and by the way, you can catch a management interview as well that is lined up. I believe that it will play out on Monday, but we'll update you on that. Snigdha is calling us from Hyderabad. Hi, Snigdha. Good morning. How can we help you today?
Hey, hi. So I just want to know, I have taken Samhi Hotels 1250 shares at 197.5.
Okay.
So I just want to, today's high is 203.
Right.
So I just want to know if I will get a profit for one month or not.
Okay, so you've got a short-term outlook. Jatin, on the charts, Samhi Hotels is part of an entire basket of stocks that have been quite active in the recent past. Would you hold for higher levels, and what levels would they be? Where would you place your stop loss?
See, in the case of Sami Hotels, the crucial support level is placed at 181 rupees, which is the 20-day average. So that would be my stop loss for the long positions. On the upside, I am expecting levels of 205 to even 210 in this stock. So continue to hold with a 181 rupees stop loss.
Okay, continue to hold. Did you mention a level to watch out for on the upside?
205 and 210.
Okay, 205, 210. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Snigdha. Nina's writing to us from Kerala, Nina Johnson, asking about Apollo Microsystems, which she's wondering whether to buy at the current level, which is around the 146 level. It's down in trade today for a period of 3 years, or should she wait to buy on dips? It's an interesting play, Avinash, and based on what you've seen of both this company and the space, would you say that this is the best option to consider?
See, I think clearly Apollo Micro is definitely a very, medium to small defense kind of player. And I think it enjoys a strong order book. My sense is that, in most of these defense companies, unless you got a 2 year plus kind of time frame, it's very difficult to now generate a very large alpha year. So I would say that, even in case of Apollo Micro, if the investor can keep at 2 years plus time frame, he can definitely think of buying in small lots. The company should do well FY26, considering the kind of order book they enjoy and the kind of new initiatives the company has announced. So I think net, I think buy at the current level, but keep on buying in a SIP way, which can actually minimize your cost.
Okay, yeah. So cost averaging is what is being suggested for Apollo Micro as well. Remember that why don't we pull up the 1 month chart for this company just to see whether it's kept pace with the defense pack as a whole, which has been up and about in the recent past. And there you go, it's up about 24%. All of the companies that have an orientation towards defense in some way or the other have moved up very dramatically. Bear that in mind. All right, Ravi is calling us from Hyderabad and is asking about Piramal Pharma. Ravi, thanks so much for calling us. How can we help you today?
Yeah, very good morning, Alex.
Please go ahead.
My query is on Piramal Pharma.
Okay.
So is it a good stock to pick, or can you suggest any other stocks in pharma which gives good returns in next 1 to 2 years?
1 to 2 years. Okay, so you're thinking of buying it based on the earnings, is it?
Yeah.
On the earnings. Okay. Avinash, it's an interesting question because we're speaking on a day when Sun Pharmaceuticals has posted its numbers and the outlook for growth is not terrific. But we were speaking with Pankaj Murarka earlier on today, and what he was saying is that, first of all, he gave a disclaimer that he's holding it. And he said that the management has a tendency to under-promise and over-deliver. And from that perspective, he would be a buyer on dips. In the pharmaceutical space, in your opinion, is Piramal Pharma a good stock to hold? What are the prospects? And if not that, which would you pick for the long term?
No, I think Piramal Pharma, Alex, is definitely a promising bet considering that they are a large player in the CDMO space. And I think numbers which came out were quite reassuring. So my sense is that, yes, if the investor has at least a 2-year view, then I think he can definitely expect to make a decent risk reward here. Within the larger cap, I think pharma names, we are positive on Lupin, we are positive on, Sun Pharma. But I think, clearly the CDMO is a very promising opportunity. And I think there, Piramal Pharma, other players like Glenmark are definitely, growing by very rapid kind of top line, percentages. So Piramal Pharma, he could definitely look at. It's not a very pricey stock. At the same time, this company was a demerged entity of the parent entity. And now I think numbers have started coming in. So I think hopefully 26 should be much better. So yes, he can buy it, but keeping a 2-year time frame.
Okay, buy with a 2-year time frame is the view on Piramal Pharma. The stock is down about 0.8% today. Hopefully that answers your question, Ravi. We've got a question from Shri, who's writing in from Calcutta. Oh, I should say Kolkata. And he's recently added Hindustan Zinc at a price of 415 rupees per share. He's wondering whether to hold or sell. He's got 300 shares. And the entire metal pack has done reasonably well because you've had developments from China that suggest that administration and the central bank there is looking to support the economy, and anything that does well for the Chinese economy bodes well for the metal pack as a whole as well. So the question is whether you would place your bet on Hindustan Zinc or another stock in the metal pack. And Jatin, on the charts, what is the opinion here?
No, see, in the case of Hindustan Zinc, definitely it's a good level to accumulate or even hold on, because the recent high in the stock was around 800 and now it's currently trading at 440. So already it's had a decent amount of correction, and as far as the price structure is suggesting that it is forming a base formation, and I am expecting a breakout above 455 to 460 levels in the immediate short term. So definitely you should hold on for his trade, and I suggest to keep a stop loss of 420 for his long position.
All right, so that's the view on Hind Zinc as well as the metal space as a whole. We've got a next question from Jaipur. Dilawar is writing and asking about SW Solar, and he's looking for a target price for the next 6 months to 1 year. He's already acquired the stock at a price of 291 rupees, which is not too far away from the current market price. Remember, this is a stock that has seen a significant amount of value erosion over the period of the last 6 months to a year. Let's pull up the 1-year chart and give you a sense of what I'm talking about. There you go. So about 64% down compared with where it was a year ago. The question is, has a base formed, and what are the prospects for the next 6 months to a year? Of course, some part of this will depend on the earnings, but on the charts, Jatin, what are the levels that you would watch on the upside?
Yeah, see, in the case of SW Solar, the price structure that has been forming post a recent decline is not very encouraging as of now. It's only a consolidation phase that is going on, and not any signs of a trend reversal on the weekly chart. So I think the recent price structure is indicating that it will slip down towards 230 to even 220 on the downside. So that's a decent amount of downside even from current levels. So I suggest to, if he's holding, then exit at current levels in this investment that he has made.
So exit is a call on Sterling and Wilson Solar on the basis of the technicals. And quite a few of the fundamental experts that we've spoken to as well over the last weeks have suggested something similar. Avinash, I just want to know whether you have the same opinion. Would you say exit is a right call in SW Solar right now?
Yeah, I think, see, my guess is that, even at these valuations, Alex, the stock doesn't appear to be cheap. And now what has happened recently, like yesterday, US Donald Trump has said that some changes could be announced in the tax bill, which actually cuts down, the benefits which users get for putting out solar rooftops. So I think if that happens, then the global market, especially the US market, is now going to be extremely volatile and choppy for Indian players. I would suggest that it's better to exit and get into some other companies, specifically the capital goods or maybe the public sector bank, category stocks, where I think growth is more evident and where the valuations are also attractive.
Got it. All right. Rahul is calling us from Chandigarh and asking about a stock in focus today. If I'm not mistaken, Container Corp is losing ground. Yeah, 2.5% lower because the results weren't great. Rahul, very good morning to you. How can we help you?
Good morning, Alan, and good morning, sir. Yeah, I was going through the market trend today, and CCI, the console is down 3%. So I was thinking if this is the right opportunity to enter this.
Okay. The idea as to how long you'd like to hold this, what is the thesis behind it? Is it purely based on the price action that you intend to buy?
No, I intend to hold this for long term, 1 to 2 years.
Okay.
And I was going through the fundamentals. The P2E looks decent. Their market cap is fairly large, around 45K, 45,000 crores. So that's, and adding to that, the price went down, so that's why.
Yeah. Okay, so I get it. All right. I will take it across to Avinash. I just want to very quickly point you to the markets though. I've been looking at individual stocks and so I've missed it while we've been speaking about it. We are at the high point of the day, 290 points on the Nifty 50. Look at that spurt over the course of the last 15 minutes or so. And you also pull up IT because this is a pack that was up about 1.5% when we started this program. It's up about 2% or so. And there's an interesting up move in the banking space as well. So if we pull up the Nifty Bank, it was up just about 0.2%, but it's moved up very substantially. So you see a similar move for the benchmark Nifty 50. Let's pull up the contributors on the benchmark Nifty 50 just to give you a sense of what is moving the needle for it right now. And you will see names like Infosys, RIL, ITC, HDFC Bank as well. I think if we can pull up the heat map on the Nifty 50 or the snapshot of all of the constituents, there's one stock in the red at this point, and that is Sun Pharmaceuticals. But everything else is doing particularly well in trade. Eternal, by the way, is making a comeback. ITC is looking good. Infosys is doing quite well for itself in trade today. So very good look, and the market breadth as well. I would hazard a guess to say that it's improved quite dramatically. Let's pull that up as well, just to give you a sense. There you go. It's widening a tad bit. Whether or not that reflects in the broader markets is the question, because at this juncture, it's not. You have the mid-cap index that's just about 0.4% or 1/3% higher, and you have the small-cap index that's about 1/3% higher right now. Let me go to Jatin very quickly to see if this up move is sustainable through the course of the day and whether this has anything to do with the derivative positions that have been in play. Of course, yesterday was expiry, and we're heading into the monthly expiry as well. So what do you need to bear in mind, Jatin?
Yeah, see, in the previous trading session, one important thing happened is that the fall held down to this 20-day moving average, which was in the range of 24,500. And thereafter, during the last hour of the trading session, we saw a decent amount of recovery from the intraday lows. And today we are seeing follow-up buying interest on the upside. Now, 24,800 was the immediate resistance, and the Nifty is sustaining above that. So I think now the Nifty is poised, to continue its up move towards 25,300 on the upside. I think the mean reversion that happened in yesterday's trading session is now done and dusted, and we are likely to witness 25,300 in the next week, I suppose. So continue to hold longs. If someone is planning to go long, even at current levels, then 24,700 should be kept as a stop loss.
All right, so there's a view on the markets. Rahul, sorry to keep you waiting. I mean, understandably, right? Because I got distracted by the move in the market right now. But let me get you a view on Container Corporation of India. The numbers weren't great, Avinash. I looked at the Q4 numbers and they were a little soft. So is this the right opportunity to buy? Will things improve?
No, I think my sense is that, it's better to wait for some time because numbers have been very disappointing, as you rightly pointed out, Alex. Both the revenue and the EBITDA and the bottom line growth has been virtually stagnant. And, the bonus has also not been very attractive. They've given a 1:4 bonus. So, I would suggest that, let the stock become X bonus after the split. And after that, one could take a fresh review. I think, they have a very strong positioning in the domestic rail logistic market. But I think numbers don't inspire confidence. So I think it's better to wait for the management call, the commentary to come from the management and let the stock go X bonus. At that point of time, it could be a better opportunity. And I think if the investor is already holding on, I think he's got to take a long-term view because, these kind of infra bets normally take a long time to get re-rated. And unless numbers are very solid, at least in the very near term, there are not going to be many triggers to rate this stock. So net is long-term positive, but short-term, I think it's going to be very sideways movement.
Okay, all right. Rahul, hopefully that answers your question. Jatin, I understand you have to leave us. Thank you so much for joining us today and for answering all the questions you did, and wish you a happy weekend. All right, Avinash, do stay with us. We'll be back on the other side of this very quick break to take more questions. Viewers, we'll be back before you know it. Do stay tuned.
तू ही तो है जिसकी सच्चाई वाली क्लैरिटी की वजह से मैं आज यहाँ हूँ।
गोल्ड प्लस सिल्वॉक्सी मिरर्स, ऐसी क्लैरिटी कि आपको सिर्फ सच नजर आए, चाहे कितने भी साल बीत जाएं।
I'm Srikanth, co-founder and executive vice chairman of Fractal. Actually, I am Srikanth's AI avatar, and the real Srikanth, who you can see behind me, wanted me to handle the start of this session. We may be 3 to 5 years away from a place that AI is getting so good that it will beat human beings at everything.
Why is Fractal a big deal? Why is Fractal a disruptor in its space?
Fractal powers these algorithms that help companies become better at what they do, more effective at what they do.
What do you say to the doomsday conspiracy theories that there will be a point where artificial intelligence will gain superiority? In 5 years, would you need the same number of people?
For the same quantity of work, we need only half the people or maybe a third of the people.
Tell us about the journey and how you came into this space.
It all began with my interest in math. Getting 98 on a math test was considered poor performance.
Oh dear.
We started Fractal and we said, what if we can use
Welcome back. You're watching Ask Profit. This is a show that gets you answers to all of your stock-related questions, and we've been answering quite a few interesting ones. By the way, the numbers that you see on your screen, the landline number at the bottom of the screen is where you can call us, and the number on the top of the screen is where you can send us messages. Do remember to send us your name as well as the location that you're tuning in from. Murli from Bengaluru is calling us. Murli, thanks so much for waiting by, and I really appreciate your patience. How can we help you today?
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Good morning, and my query is I bought Page Industries, 10 shares after the results at 47,780.
Okay.
Should I hold considering the good prospects of textile industry in the coming year?
Yeah.
Or should I switch to my MGL? Well, dividend yields are also good and it is also on a downward trajectory now.
Okay.
MGL, I mean Maharashtra Gas.
Yes. Murli, I know that you call us often, and I'm hopeful that the advice that you get on the show is beneficial to you. I just want to understand Page Industries, the acquisition that you made, you've spent about 4,77,000 rupees or thereabouts. This is not a very substantial portion of your portfolio, right? This is
right. This only 10 shares I hold.
Got it. Okay, got it. So let me get you a view from Avinash. And the second stock that you wanted to know about was?
Page Industries, whether I should hold or if you feel it will better return will be in MGL, which is a good dividend yield also. Good dividend yield also.
Got it. Avinash, what's for a 1 year view? For a 1 year view. Okay. Avinash, Page Industries. Now, I think there are a lot. Osho, hi. Osho Krishan is joining us right now. Osho, thanks so much for joining in. Avinash, a lot's been said about Page Industries, right? And the question marks about whether or not alternatives are being found by the Indian buyer, whether the valuations are justified and all of that. Would you hold at this point for a year?
Yeah, I think, I think if the investor can hold in for a slightly longer period, because one important aspect is that innerwear companies are now again bouncing back. There was a period of a lull phase where margins were under pressure. But I think if you look at all the companies in the innerwear space, I think definitely Page Industries is the leader. Their brand Jockey is one of the premium brands. And I think over the next 12 to 15 months, one could expect better days. The domestic market has again stabilized, prices have started going up, and most importantly, raw material prices are now well within control. So I think, if the investor can hold on for the next 12 to 15 months, he could definitely expect a decent risk reward, despite the fact that it's not a cheap share. It's a fairly expensive share, but I think an upside of at least 13-14% over the next 12-15% is definitely comfortably possible.
Got it. All right. So that's a view on Page Industries. So hold is a view, but try to broaden your time horizon, Murli, is the advice that Avinash has for you. We've got a next question on IREDA, IREDA, and this is a question from Guru, who's writing in from Mysuru in Karnataka. He's holding 1,000 shares at a price of 154 rupees, so he's in the green, and he's wondering whether to hold or sell. He bought on the 9th of May, not too long back. So, Osho, on the charts, what are the prospects? And good morning to you.
Very good morning, Alex. Firstly, thank you for inviting me at the show. It's been a long time that we are in touch at the show. So now coming to the technical perspective of IREDA, then this counter have seen some kind of consolidation in the recent period. But the positive development that is being set up in this counter in the last 2 months is that there has been formation of higher lows on the daily time frame chart. So on the higher end, I'm expecting that 180, 182 is a very crucial zone for this counter. Any breakthrough above 182 can provide very strong momentum in the coming period, and one can definitely expect a target of 220 from short to medium term perspective. While on the lower end, the support has upshifted towards the buying price of the buyer, approximately around the zone of 154 to 155 is a very strong support. So I will advise to hold in the investments for IREDA. Any breakthrough above 180 can trigger 40 points of upside movement from short-term time horizon.
All right, so that's a view on IREDA. We've got a next caller from Kerala. Krishna is calling us. Very good morning, Krishna. Where in Kerala are you calling us from, and what would you like to know?
I'm calling from Trivandrum. Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to know, I actually bought ONGC shares yesterday for 240 rupees, almost 12,300 quantity. I would love to know the short-term perspective for 3 to 6 months.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I suppose people from Kerala are allowed to call it Trivandrum and not Thiruvananthapuram, right? But having said that, Krishna, why ONGC though? And you bought it yesterday, you said, after the results?
Yeah, after the results, I was expecting it to come down a bit, and it came down, I think, 3%, 3.5%. So, I just wanted to get it. It is for a very short time. It's not based on any fundamental analytics. I just want to buy it and sell it in a bigger profit.
Okay, and what is the time frame that you have? You're already making quite the gain. Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah, I bought it yesterday.
No, I'm saying, what is the time frame that you'd like to hold it for?
3 to 6 months max. And the stock is consolidating a bit. I've been checking it for some time. So I would love to sell it at a good price.
Okay, and have you thought of the price that you would like to sell it at?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. Okay, so Osho, the question therefore is, what is the potential upside? He's deployed a very significant portion of capital. And he's bought 12,300 shares. And so he's already made quite a bit of a gain just in one day. He seems to have deployed at the low point of yesterday. Would you hold, and what level would you hold for over the next three to 6 months?
See, overall, this counter has been hovering below the 200-day simple moving average, which on technical chart is around the zone of 250, 252 kind of a zone. So breakout should be prudent in this counter above 252 for a upside potential momentum in this counter. But overall, at present, the counter is into a very strong consolidation, and I'm expecting that in the short-term time period, 235 to 40 is a very strong support zone for the counter, and any breakthrough above 252 can provide approximately 20 point of upside movement in a very short term time horizon. So 270 will be the target that I can advise in the short term duration, while on the lower end 235 to 232 should be kept as a stop loss for ONGC for short term time horizon.
I know that it's only a short term, but I do want to very quickly get a view. Avinash, a quick answer on this one. ONGC numbers were not the best, were a little disappointing, and that's understandable considering that crude has been under a little bit of pressure, right? It's hovering around $65 per barrel, and I don't think that anybody last year would have estimated that crude would be around this level right now. So from that perspective, earnings are likely to be soft in the foreseeable future?
Yeah, I think, Alex, you're absolutely right. I think numbers were not all that great, very disappointing, almost flattish numbers. And I think going forward, if crude prices don't go up significantly, because the profitability for ONGC is directly related to the crude price increase. So my sense is that at best it could be a market performer. I think they've paid a very good dividend, so the dividend yield could be reasonably good. But in terms of the growth quotient, I think the next 6 months, I think unlike the oil marketing companies, which would benefit significantly, from the oil price cut, that could actually boost their GRMs. But in case of ONGC, I think the profitability could remain muted. So I think no great prospects expected, at least in the next 6 to 12 months.
Okay, all right. On the fundamentals, of course, that's the view on ONGC. Let's talk about the next question. It's an interesting one coming in from Venkat, who's writing in from Chennai, and he's asking between Exide and Amara Raja batteries, which is the better counter to look at purely from the perspective of valuations and I guess also earnings trajectory. Avinash, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I think both the companies have their positives and negatives, but I think I would bet on Amara Raja because clearly, in terms of their capital structure, in terms of their market positioning, they have been now present not only in the automotive segment, but even in the industrial segment. Plus, now they are getting into, lithium batteries. I think the market is an oligopoly market, so I think there's enough growth for both the players. But I think if one were to look at the next couple of years, then I think Amara Raja could definitely be a tad better, considering that they have a very large exposure to the OEM as well as the replacement market and the telecom market. So I think my sense is Amara Raja would be better from a longer term perspective.
Okay, all right. I just want to point out, viewers, if you've sent a message and there are so many that I'm unable to respond to, it's not like we don't want to, and we'll try and get as many as possible. The next question is from Shiva Kumar, who's writing in from Hyderabad. Kotla Shiva Kumar, he says, and he has got SBI quantity of 130, but he's not given us his buy price. He's looking at whether or not to sell SBI right now. Should he wait? Osho, on the charts, I'm not sure what his buy price is, but if he bought it on the 1st of May, it can't be too different from the current market price. I have not looked at the trajectory. But would you hold?
Yes, on technical front, the counter has given a breakout in the month of April in the last week, and from there onwards, it has even retested the neckline of breakout and again has retested the neckline as of now. But I am expecting that in the coming period, there is a high potential for the counter to test the zone of 850 in the short to medium term time horizon. So definitely a hold from medium term perspective. On the lower end, the support lies around the zone of 765. While on the higher end, any breakthrough above the zone of 820 can provide very strong momentum in the medium-term perspective. But again, being a large cap company, the price movement will be gradual. It won't be very significant in a very short-term perspective. So one should keep a time horizon of medium-term, and the target would be near about 840 to 850, followed by we need to review that whether it will be having some further potential or it can enter into a profit booking phase.
Okay. We've got a next caller from Vijayawada, and Raju is calling us. Good morning, Raju. How can we help you today?
Yeah, good morning to all of you. I want to buy NHPC for short term.
Okay. And how do you define that short term?
I mean, keeping 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Keeping the Q4 results in view, I think it's the Q4 numbers are good, and with a target of approximately 100. So is it possible, shall I enter that counter?
Okay, so if you're asking on the earnings front, then perhaps we'll have to broaden the time horizon. But if you're asking for the next 3 to 6 months, let me get your view on the technicals, because you're asking specifically whether it can hit 100 rupees. And Osho, therefore the question is for you, 3 to 6 month time frame, a 14 rupee upside from this point, is it possible?
There is very high potential for the counter to test the zone of 100 in the medium term time frame. But yes, currently the counter can see some kind of further profit booking or correction towards the zone of nearly 84 to 82 kind of a zone, where one can even deploy the full capital if one wants to have a very strong positioning in NHPC. But as of now, one can start accumulating in a staggered manner. I'm expecting that in the short term period, it might test the zone of 82. And once it tests the zone of 82, then one can even go aggressive in the counter for buying perspective. The immediate target is of 92. And once it crosses the zone of 92, then obviously the counter can see the zone of 3-digit in the medium term time period.
Okay. All right. So that's a view on NHPC. We've got the next question that I want to take on IRCTC, and this is from Balamurli, who's writing in from Chennai, and he's bought 7,200 shares of IRCTC at a price of 410 rupees, and he's making quite the gains. In fact, it's practically a doubler for him. He's doing particularly well. He's a long-term investor, he points out, and he wants to know about the prospects for the next 5 years and whether to hold. He's held despite the kind of drawdowns that you've seen in the last 6 months or so, and he's held through that period of uncertainty, seemingly. I'm just wondering, what are the prospects on the earnings, Avinash? Would you hold? Would you add more at this point?
Yeah, I think my guess is, Alex, IRCT is one of those companies, which has underperformed despite being a platform-based company. See, my sense is, unless the investor has got at least a couple of years in mind, this is a business which is going to grow quite rapidly, because they are the only quasi-monopoly player as far as the railway ticketing platform is concerned. They've also been investing a lot of money on budget hotels. Plus, I think clearly, if you look at the capital structure of the business, it's a debt-free business. Most importantly, I think if somebody has the patience and the conviction, one could definitely make a decent amount of money in this company, provided, they invest a little bit of time. Very well managed, but I think unfortunately the market has not recognized its true potential. So I think longer term we are positive, but yes, in the short term it will continue to be, in a sideways zone.
Got it. All right. So that's a view on IRCTC. Let's talk about Paradeep Phosphate. We've got Jitendra, who's calling us from Hyderabad. Very good morning, Jitendra. How can we help you today?
Good morning to all members, sir. I'm holding 1,700 shares of Paradeep Phosphate 107 range, and it's looking very strong for me. And I would like to hold for December. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. Tell me how long I have to hold for this. And fundamentals and technicals also.
You want both. Okay, so Jitendra, how long to hold is up to you, and it depends on whether or not you want to take money off the table, but I get your question. Let me go to Avinash on this one. Paradeep Phosphates, he's bought at levels of 107, which has turned out to be quite the attractive buy price. Would you hold for a period of, I know that he's talked about December, but he's talked about fundamentals, and so therefore I would assume that you would want him to expand his time horizon as well.
No, I think he can continue to hold. My sense is that, hopefully we have a good monsoon, we have a good rural kind of demand coming in, then I think company should do well. The numbers for FY25 have also been reasonably good. And I think, the company has been a slow mover, but I think if you look at the numbers, my sense is over the next 12 to 15 months, you could expect a decent risk reward. So I think continue to hold.
Hold Paradeep Phosphates is a view on the fundamentals. The stock is up as much as 7% this week itself. Radhika is calling us from Telangana. Very good morning, Radhika. How can we help you today? Okay, I understand that we've lost Radhika. We might just get her back and then we'll take her question. We've got the next question from Raj, who's writing in from Goa, asking about BSE. The stock has seen quite a bit of chop and churn in the recent past. He's looking for whether or not this is a good entry point to buy BSE for a period of 1 year. I suppose the question is on what happens with the expiry day, Avinash, because that's really the latest update and the reason why the stock moved so dramatically yesterday and has bounced back a little bit today. I think a lot of people have pointed out if the NSE does what it is intending to do and shift its expiry to Tuesday, there's nothing stopping BSE from shifting it to Thursday, but in the interim, it might actually lose out in the form of earnings in some form. So what's your reading of the situation? Would you buy at this point?
No, see, I think today, Alex, the stock has gone ex bonus. It's the first day. So I think I would say that let the stock settle down. And I think the company, that is BSE, has given a very liberal 2:1 bonus. So there's a lot of liquidity which is going to come in. And there have been a lot of investors who have purchased this stock some time back. So I think, you're going to see a small sell-off from those shareholders who have actually decided to sell their original shares. So my sense is that, as you mentioned rightly, when NSE changes the expiry date to Tuesday, that could definitely impact BSE in the very near term. So I would say it's better to wait for at least some time before the stock settles down and then take a conscious call. So I think there's no hurry to buy it today. Probably wait for maybe a couple of weeks or a month. And I think one could decide. But yes, longer term prospects are definitely solid. But in the very near term, there could be a lot of liquidity flows which could push down the stock to lower levels.
That's a good point. People might look to exit, and that will provide you several opportunities down the road as well. Geeta has got the next question, asking about Hindustan Construction Company, HCC, which he's bought at levels of 44 rupees, and she's wondering whether to hold or sell at this point because she's lost ground. Osho, the stock is trading just below 30 rupees per share. Should she hold?
See, overall, this counter has been into a very strong corrective phase and is hovering way below its long-term moving average. So the near-term aspects is again very dicey on the short-term perspective. But looking at the recent development, the counter have seen some kind of vertical rally from the zone of 23 odd levels towards 29-30 kind of a zone as of now. So I will advise to keep this counter with a strict stop loss that is advisable at the rate of 26 rupees. If it falls below 26, then there is a higher possibility for this counter to test the zone of 22 to 23 in the short term period. So hold it with a stop loss of 26. If there will be any kind of buying momentum, which on the technical front as of now is not looking in the near period, but if there will be in future, then we can see some kind of positive traction to get better exit at from the current levels. To hold it with a stop loss of 26 from short-term perspective.
All right. So that's a view on HCC. Abhirami is calling us from Chennai. Good morning, and you're calling us after a while, Abhirami. How are you?
Good morning, sir. Thank you, sir. How are you, sir? Fine,
Very well.
sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I hold the Tamil Nadu Petro for 100 shares.
Okay.
I buy my price is 80 rupees. Can I hold, what is the target of Tamil Nadu Petro?
Okay, and what's the time frame that you have in mind, Abhirami?
5 months, sir, because I have only 5 months or 3 months.
Okay, 5 months or 3 months, all right. So bought very close to the current market price. 80 rupees is the current is the price which he's bought at. Osho on the charts, 3 to 5 months. What are the potential upside, and what level would you place the stop loss at?
See, this counter have seen a very strong traction after a very elongated duration of corrective phase. So I'm expecting that there is a possibility of momentum to continue in this counter. Although in the short-term perspective, there can be some kind of consolidation around the zone of 78 to 80 kind of a zone. But on a medium-term time horizon, there is a higher possibility that this counter can test the zone of 92 to 94. So one should definitely stay invested in this counter for an immediate target of 94, and once it reaches the zone of 94, then we again need to review that whether the potential for higher momentum is still pertaining in this counter or not.
Okay. Ajit is writing in asking about Wari Energies and the stock in focus today on account of earnings. He's bought at levels of 3,200, wondering whether to hold because the stock is down about 6% or so, recovered from the low point of the day. Okay, I understand we have to go across to Gautam Adani, the chairman of the Adani Group, speaking at the Rising Northeast Investor Summit. Listen in.
His Excellency Governor of Manipur, Honorable Union Minister Sri Sindhya ji, Captains of Industry, and esteemed guests. Namaskar. It is an honor to be speaking at the Rising Northeast Investor Summit. Over the past decade, in the hills and valleys of the Northeast, a new chapter in India's growth story is unfolding. A story rooted in diversity, resilience, and untapped potential. This region is now a source of our cultural pride, economic promise, and a strategic directions. And behind this rise is the vision of one leader who recognizes no borders, only beginnings. Honorable Prime Minister, when you said, act east, act fast, act first, you gave the Northeast is a wake-up call. 65 personal visits, 6.2 lakhs crores of investment since 2014, doubling the road network to 16,000 kilometers, doubling the number of airports to 18. This is not just a policy. It is your hallmark of a big thinking. It is the hallmark of your belief systems. It is the hallmark of your convictions in a Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. 3 months ago, in Assam, we pledged an investment of rupees 50,000 crores. Today, once again, humble and inspired by your leadership, I announce that Adani Group will invest additional 50,000 crores across the Northeast over the next 10 years. Our focus will span green energy, including smart meters, hydro, pump storage, power transmission, roads and highways, digital infrastructure, logistics, as well as capacity building through skilling and vocational training centers. But more than infrastructures, we will invest in people. Every initiative will prioritize local jobs, local entrepreneurships, and a community engagement. This is what Viksit Bharat 2047 is all about. Honorable Prime Minister, we will walk in step with your vision. Honorable Chief Ministers, we will hold hands with your people. Honorable Minister of Northeast, we will echo your mission. And to our brothers and sisters of Northeast, we at Adani will stand beside your dreams, your dignity, and your destiny. Thank you. Jai Hind.
That's huge. That is a biggie. It's out of
Gold Plus Clear Glass. Far ho ya near, sab kuch dikhe clear.
I'm Srikanth, co-founder and executive vice chairman of Fractal. Uh-oh.